Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. We're here for our Avatar: The Last Airbender limited set review. As always, we've got Yanks on the call. How you doing, Yanks?
Good. How about you?
Good, good. I'm excited to dive into Avatar. If you guys are just YouTube viewers, you might not know I am a huge Avatar fan. I watch it several times a year. It's been one of my favorite shows for over a decade. I am in love with the series. I'm so glad we're getting more. I've read all of the novels. I haven't read all the mangas yet, but I've acquired them recently in my hype for this set. So I hope to know all things Avatar. You're gonna get usually you get Yanks geeking out about like some of the Lord of the Rings or Tarkir Brothers War stuff, but now you guys are gonna get me geeking out massively about all these cards. Are you ready for my
Should
geeking
definitely
out?
definitely be a change of role. Yeah.
Yeah, are you ready for my geek out?
I mean, I don't think anybody really can be, but I'm close.
I'll try to keep it to a minimum. And if you have any questions about
Yeah.
any of the card lore, feel free. How does the set review work, guys? We're going to be doing 7 videos. So the first one is going to be all of the white cards, and we're going to give them a rating between 1 and 10 based on how we feel like they're going to go and perform in the average limited deck. So that's a split between sealed and draft, which I know there's a big difference there, but for the sake of this, we're just saying whether or not this is a card you should look out for, whether you should want to pick them up for your sideboard, just how we think they're going to perform. And again, high synergy cards take a little bit of a downgrade from that just because the average deck in a sealed pool doesn't have that much synergy stuff. So maybe you open a really synergistic pool, great, it'll perform better, but we're going to try to come up with the average rating on how we think these will perform. So we're going to jump in with the first white card, and that is Aang, the Last Airbender. This is a 4 mana 4/2 with flying. When Aang enters, airbend up to one other target non-land permanent. Whenever you cast a lesson spell, Aang gains life until end of turn. Gains lifelink until end of turn. That's what I meant to say. It's interesting to see a 4 mana 4/2 flyer again.
Well, it's a 4 mana 3/2, but
What did I say? 4/2?
4/2.
In my head, I said 3/2. Now it does airbend, which is I think a pretty powerful ability, especially in limited. So I think this is much better. But we're seeing a decrease back to stats we saw maybe 3 years ago
Sure. We're
in
looking
response to better abilities.
exactly. You're getting the kind of the effect of airbending is similar to what you would see on I can't think of its name, Paolo's card,
Yeah.
Elite Spellbinder.
That's right.
That except in that case you're taking out of their hand and then they can play it from exile for 2 more. Well, that's what airbending does. In this case, it's target non-land permanent. There are cards where it's only things you control. So you can retrigger ETBs. There are different effects like that, but basically it exiles in this case non-land permanent, and then the owner of that card can replay it, but for an extra 2 mana.
Not for an extra 2, just for 2.
Oh, just for 2. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is different. That is actually different than the Elite Spellbinder.
You were thinking
Spellbinder is
Anointed
+2.
Procession? Is that what that card is?
No,
It's a
that's
3
the
mana
one.
3/3 that like looks at your opponent hand and then you pick a card and it costs 2 additional mana to play it.
That's well, maybe that's also Elite Spellbinder is the 3 mana 3/1 that does that.
Okay. Well, Anointed Procession is actually the enchantment.
Is and Emaket enchantment, yeah.
There's I think it's Anointed something.
Anointed Peacekeeper.
Yeah, there it is. I was about to say, get in the comments. So you were thinking the airbending was a cross
Yeah.
between the Peacekeeper ability, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think this card is
Okay.
fine. I think tempo is really strong in limited. I think flyers are really strong. So overall, this is an uncommon I'm pretty thrilled to play. I'm going to say that this is, oh boy. I'm going to say this is a 6.
It's interesting now that I'm corrected on that, on exactly how airbending works. It completely changes the way I view that ability.
Yeah, you thought it
Because
was way stronger than it is.
well, yes, but also it makes it just flip to now I'm going to way more often be targeting my own things with this
I mean,
for ETB triggers or stuff like that.
the issue is like they can't attack you with it again. I still think it has quite a bit of good
It does.
value. The
It
other
does.
thing too is if it's a land that has been earthbent, it has counters on it. This gets rid of those counters permanently. And also, airbending specifically says, oh yeah, no, that doesn't matter actually. So yeah, so it's removing that creature effectively from the game, which is one interaction with a type of bending, which is kind of cool. I mean, they get the land back
as long as it's not a non-land permanent. Like in this case, that wouldn't work because the creature it's still a land, right? The earth bent.
Exile it. Enters. Oh yeah, this does say non-land, but yes, you can airbend land creatures most of the time. So this one, you're right. This one doesn't work that way, but because it specifically doesn't want you to hurt them. But here we are. Anyway, what's your rating?
I think I'm in the same range, around a 6. A few things here we still have to find out how many lessons are in the set.
Yeah, is there going to be learn? Is lessons same in limited here, or is it a new thing where it's meant to be played in the set? We'll have to find out.
Agreed.
All right, Aang's Iceberg, 3 mana for an enchantment with flash. When this enchantment enters, exile up to one other target non-land permanent until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. And it has water bending 3. You can sacrifice this enchantment. If you do, scry 2. And for waterbending, you can either tap mana or creatures or artifacts to pay for that cost. So it's sort of a Convoke-esque feel.
Yeah. It's Convoke/improvise.
Yeah. So you're going to be sacrificing this enchantment to scry 2.
Yep.
That's kind of a weird mechanic to have on an O-ring. But if you're doing it in response to blowing it up, then that's fine. It is just kind of free, but it's not something I'm excited to be doing. Like I've been playing a ton of Banishing Lights I was just doing Foundations, and I don't think anyone ever removed one.
I'd say correct me if I'm wrong, because I've watched only a little bit of Avatar and mostly at the beginning. That has to be in there solely for flavor reasons, right? Like that's how he breaks out of the iceberg, theoretically.
Yep.
Right, I assume that's just there for flavor.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, why would this have water bending on it? But no, you're right. I got by. Dang it! This is supposed to be my job. I just didn't.
That's about the only episode I really remember.
This is supposed to be my job. I didn't even think about the flavor. I was just like, this is a weird ass mechanic on this card. I don't think I like it. And you're just like, I think it's there because Katara water bends the iceberg that then comes to the surface and gives Aang out. Oh man. Oh. All right, I'm done with this show. We're no more set review. Yanks ruined it. All right, Avatar Master. This is not a 4. This is a 8.
So who's Katara again?
God damn it. White's premium removal. Enchantments are often hard to get rid of in limited. We call those 8s, yes?
Yes.
All right, Avatar Master. You read the next one.
Next up, we have Airbender Ascension. 1 and a white for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, airbend up to 1 target creature. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Beginning of your end step, if this enchantment has 4 or more quest counters on it, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this is a callback to the Ascensions from original Zendikar, which basically something gave them counters, and then eventually when you got to a certain amount of counters, you got to do something every turn.
And once you airbend 4 times, airbend up to 1 target creature. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter. So you only need 4 creatures to enter to turn this into a teleportation circle.
Yeah, exactly.
I dig that, plus the airbend tempo, so you can re-trigger your ATBs, or you can tempo out your opponent, which I think is preferred in limited. I think these are going to be really fun commander builds for bouncing your own stuff with airbending, but for limited, I think more often than not, I'm super interested in airbending my opponent's stuff. But teleportation circle is great. I think that's very, very playable. It's sort of a split rating card because some decks aren't going to be taking advantage of it, but the fact that it ETBs and airbends anyway, I think this is going to be playable in any deck.
I think so too. It's a creature. It's not a non-token creature. If that's relevant, that could make it pretty easily trigger, get to 4 pretty quickly. If there's stuff in the set that makes a couple tokens.
There's a lot of ally tokens. I know that.
Makes sense. So yeah, then that should make it even a little bit easier to get to 4.
So I think this is going to be playable any deck. I'm going to say it's a kind of a split rating. It's going to be like a 5, 23rd playable card in anything that can run white mana reliably. And then it's going to go up. Like, what would you rate a teleportation circle at? Like, that can be pretty brutal in the right deck.
Yeah, in the right deck, it's like a 8.
I was going to say 7.5.
I think it could be. I mean, I think you're. It's going to be in that you'll play it in a range of decks where it's going to be anywhere from like a 6.5 to an 8.
Yeah,
on a scale.
I think that's very, very fair assessment. So one of our first split rating cards, we don't like to use them, but just realistically, a ton of like, I don't know, Boros decks don't have ETBs. Like there's not going to be flickering things, but there's going to be like Azorius stuff. You're going to have like that Aang we saw earlier that just when it ETBs, it air bends. So you're going to have great targets, I think, for this in any deck. And even if you don't have any ETBs, then just a 2-mana airbend your thing is probably good enough anyway. So this is certainly making the cut in a lot of decks. All right, Airbender's Reversal, 2 mana for an instant lesson. You can choose one, destroy target attacking creature, or airbend target creature you control specifically. That's nice and flexible. I like that it's, even if you don't have the like ETB triggers to actively want to be airbending your own stuff, which I think is going to be relevant in some limited decks, but not all. I like that this still acts as instant speed protection for removal spells. So it's not going to be a dead card ever, and attacking creatures is pretty broad as well for a cheap mana cost. I like this.
It is. It's also a lesson, so we'll see if that, I imagine if there's lessons, there's probably learn in the set, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out, because we played a commander game and we played with a whole lessons deck, and we didn't see learn stuff in there. I haven't seen any spoilers, but again, I'm not the most diligent at looking at the spoilers as they come out. We like to read them all and assess them within the context of the set when they're all out, as opposed to getting them drip fed to me personally. So I haven't seen any learn, so we'll have to. I don't know if it's true.
I mean, learn doesn't work in Commander, right?
Exactly, but like I would have thought
you wouldn't see it there.
I would have thought some of the creatures we used, because we just used a whole slew of all the commander, all the creatures.
Sure.
They would have had learn on them accidentally. When we were playing Strixhaven, there was a ton of cards that we used that just had learn that we just didn't use.
Yeah, fair enough.
Rating wise, I think this is really good. I think it's like a 7. I'm not cutting 1 or 2 of these. I think attacking creature is good, and I think the airbending is solid.
Agreed. I think you would always play this card even if it didn't have the second half, and the fact that it's got both makes it good.
Jay is confirming my suspicions that there is no learn in this set. It is only lessons made for the main deck, which is, I think, I just thought that because I hadn't seen any lesson or any learn. But the other thing that made me think that is all of the lessons I've seen so far felt more playable than they did in Strixhaven. Those ones all felt like, oh, that's a good half a card if I can get it for free. These all feel like full cards.
Fair enough.
Airbending Lesson, 3 mana for another lesson. Airbend target non-land permanent and draw a card. I like time walking, like just bending someone out and tempoing them, and the card draw is always really good, but this one feels a little bit weaker.
Definitely. It's the fact that it cycles means it's never going to be unplayable. All the airbending stuff is going to be good in decks with a lot of ETBs. So, and because it's a main mechanic of the set, I would imagine there are a lot of ETBs in this set for that reason, especially in white.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this is just super playable in any deck. I think that there's going to be a really synergistic airbending deck that's going to want this. But in the average deck, if you're in whatever the non-airbending partner color is, probably like a 6. I don't see myself cutting this.
Probably not. It's always going to have some sort of use.
Yeah, at instant speed, you can use it against combat tricks. So you can sort of like 1.5 them, tempo plus combat. You can use it in response to removal on your biggest creatures. So I like the flexibility on it, and the fact that it cycles itself is just super nice.
Exactly.
Appa, Loyal Sky Bison. 6 mana for a 4/4 flying Appa. It's an ally, which is a relevant creature type, and when it enters or attacks, choose one. Ooh, we're seeing an attack or enters on an uncommon. That's going to be wild. Target creature you control gains flying till end of turn, or airbend another non-land target permanent you control specifically. So this is going to help with those ETBs or triggering your teleportation circle. He's so cute. I love him. And him giving a creature flying makes a lot of sense. That's super cute. And Sky Bisons are the original airbenders, so it makes sense that he can airbend.
So it's a 6 mana 4/4 flyer. That's definitely, leaving the abilities out of it, that's definitely underrated for what we've seen in recent times.
Yeah.
But you always get at least one trigger. You'll get more. It's an ally, which is relevant here as well. The card's fine.
Yeah, I'm reasonably happy. So far, I generally, from what I've seen from the spoilers, I think that this set is going to be a smidge slower than some of
That's
the
key.
more recent sets, but what were you saying?
I said that's key for a
Yeah.
card like this. It has to be for you to play a card like this.
And I think that's going to be the case. And I think they have done a really good job of slowing the formats down in the last year. We haven't had any like all will be ones. Every set review we've done recently has felt like we've come to the conclusion that we think we're going to get to do the thing. We're going to get to build the engine. We're going to get to, make the cool things happen and get to that mid to late game. So rating wise, I don't think it's anything super duper special, but I don't see myself cutting it if I didn't open a rare 6-drop. You want a 6-drop or two in every deck. I think this will be a fine one to have. So, giving other creatures flying is a pretty valuable mechanic that I find wins. It's usually on a 3 or 4 drop, but I don't think that having it on a 6-drop is too bad. And the fact that this one survives a little bit better, I value that mechanic pretty highly. So I'm going to say a 6.
Yeah, that is definitely a good ability to have, especially on something that's already evasive. So the fact that it's an attack trigger isn't a big deal because they probably can't block and kill this anyway.
Yeah. So we are in agreement. 6?
6, yep.
All right. Now we have the Appa Steadfast Guardian, a 4-mana mythic 3/4 flash flying. When Appa enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control specifically, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 ally creature token. So this is going to be the big benefit to airbend your own stuff, and then hopefully they also have ETBs. It has flash, so you can really time it to benefit yourself, whether that's like in combat or against removal spells, and airbend a bunch of other stuff, or you can just kind of win more. It's pretty cheap, so you could probably recast some of this stuff anyway.
You could even flash this thing in to protect your entire rest of your team from a wrath, for example.
Yeah. Any number, so you just flash this in. He eats it, but all your other stuff is going to come back or be recast. Yeah,
no, you don't get the bonus, the token bonus, but it's just another sort of use case for this card, which is already statted pretty well to begin with.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this card. I mean, it's not a home run mythic, but I feel like this is very, very first pickable. So I would like to call this like an 8.
I think so. It's got good stats. It's got great abilities. You'd be able to ambush things. It's going to win in the long game if left alone. That sounds like an 8.
Yeah, I think this can definitely win some games. The more impactful you make that, just as is, a flash 3/4 flyer for 4 can win a game, right? But that's probably like a 7. So an 8 is assuming you get a teeny bit of value out of something, whether that's airbending your stuff, protecting against removal, something, and then the bigger that ability is, just the more likely you are to just dominate.
For sure.
Avatar Enthusiasts, 3-mana 2/2. When it's an ally, whenever another ally you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So we've seen this kind of stuff before, but it's usually just like any other creature enters or dies. So it needing to be an ally specifically is kind of rough.
Yeah, we've seen, I guess every creature so far we've seen has been an ally. Now that I'm looking at it. Now it's only
I don't think that's going to
Three
be
white cards.
super true in every color.
Other color, agreed.
There will be one other color that probably shares the allies. I just haven't figured out what that is yet.
True, although that is kind of a ally-ish mechanic. I remember from like I guess Zendikar, when they had allies in the past, you did all the times have things like this that relied on other allies.
Yeah. And honestly, I think part of the reason they maybe are nerfing it to only allies instead of like all creatures is probably because this is a pretty creature heavy ally set, like making tokens and stuff. And if you're getting such a huge benefit for having the ally synergistic deck, they don't want to just give it to you for free and make it super busted with all of your other creatures that just happen to not be allies. They want this to be a big payoff.
Oh yeah, it restricts the if something like that is that easy to get, it just restricts the power level they can put on other allies too.
Yeah, for sure. So rating wise, I think this is going to be pretty so in limited because you have to have an excessive amount of allies to make this good. So in sealed, it's going to be a little light, especially if your color pairings don't quite match up. And then it feels like it's going to be playable in any white deck with enough allies, just not super strong. So I would say like a 5.
I think that's right. That feels good for an average number for this card. It's one of those cards where it's obvious if you want to put this in your deck.
Yeah, you really only need one ally to come in to get your money's worth. 3 for 3. It's not great. You're not really happy until you have your second one, but in any white deck, it feels like that's going to be possible. So realistically, I think this has the ability to play up to a 6, 6.5 if you happen to have that right color pairing, if you are in excess of 10 allies?
Yeah, it'll play up to like a 6, 7.
Yeah, I think that's the point where you want to be is upwards of 8 to 10 allies will make it much closer to a 6 or a 7. All right, I'll let you take this one.
Avatar's Wrath. 2 white sorcery. Choose up to 1 target creature, then airbend all other creatures. Until your next turn, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Exile Avatar's Wrath.
It's interesting that they're giving white sort of a moo cow, Cyclonic Rift.
Moo cow.
Sorry. Whenever I think of the card, I just think of the version with the cow and the tornado, and that's all that I think about in my brain. Yeah, they're giving white a version of Cow Rift. It's got its ups and downs, right? So it's sorcery speed, but it only costs 4. Your opponents can't recast stuff, and you get your mana first, but they get to keep their they get to cast them for cheaper. So like it's give and take, but it feels Cyclonic Rift-esque, and I think this is going to be good in any deck. I would 100% play this, never cutting it.
Definitely never cutting it. I see the whiteness of this card as opposed to being blue like Cyclonic Rift, and that their probably view is that it's exiling everything, not bouncing. So that's more of a white effect than a blue effect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're definitely never cutting this card.
Yeah, so I would say that this can definitely tempo win games. It's going to put you on the front foot a lot. So I don't think it's as good as like a board clear.
No, I think it's definitely not. There will be a use case where it is.
Yeah, because like
in general,
because if you guys are both on top deck mode, you have your biggest creature, you brick all of theirs, and then they rip a land, and then you replay all your creatures that they couldn't on their turn, right? So then you're just like massively ahead, but there's going to be enough times where you're super far behind, you do this, and they're just going to be like, cool, play a creature out of my hand, and you're like, okay, rip something, it doesn't help me, play my 1 creature that I had that I was behind with, and then they could go, cool, untap, play my 4 creatures that you rifted, and we're back to square one. It feels like it's going to do nothing a good amount of times.
Sure, but at the same time, unlike regular rats, right, this can just end the game where, if you're ahead, they stabilize, it's a board stall, and then you just get everything out of the way and hit with 1 thing and kill them. It's one of those like Boros aggro where you've gotten them down to 4, but can't get that last reach in.
Yeah, this will be great on a board stall because it'll put you ahead. You can actually whack them on your turn for whatever your biggest thing is, and then progress before them. Hopefully, you have more mana to expend, which is nice. And the other thing is it's only 4 mana, so you could actually play your creatures in the same turn if you have 6 mana.
True. And
So
you have less to play theoretically in a board stall because you get to keep them.
yeah, and your opponents cannot play those cards, so they have to have something in hand, and they're, a good chunk of the time they're not going to. The question is this an 8? And I feel like it is more awkwardly situational than a board clear, but it doesn't feel overall too much strong or too much weaker.
I agree. It doesn't get you out of some of the situations that regular sweepers do.
Yeah, it's nice that you get to I mean, sweepers, you get to like lull them into overextending, and then you 5-for-1 them, 5-for-2 them. But this, you don't get that opportunity. But also, this helps you maintain a better tempo than a board clear, because usually the board clear is too expensive. You can't replay things. They get to untap first, play things, whereas this one you kind of do. So I don't know. It still feels like an 8, but it's.
I think so. It's just you have to set it up a little more carefully.
Yeah, and honestly, even though we're kind of weighing out these pluses and minuses, ultimately the answer is play the card, because that's what this set review is all about. Should you be playing this? And yes, it's a 0% cut. This makes the cut every time.
Yep, it's an early pick. It's a rare, so you won't see it that often.
Yep. Compassionate Healer, 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever this creature becomes tapped, you gain a life and scry 1. I like bears. This is an ally. It's a relevant creature type. I'd be interested to see what the life gain mechanics are, if any. We haven't really seen a good life gain deck since, Bloomburrow Bats, really? There was one in Foundations, but we all forgot Foundations existed, kind of, so here we are.
True.
Yeah, I think this is good.
What is that watermark?
In the text box?
Yeah.
That's the waterbender?
So that's why I'm assuming that's what this is for, right? Because you can tap creatures to pay for things with waterbending?
Yes. So that's right. So it is a beneficial target to tap, because it doesn't say it has to attack. So it just means that it's a synergy piece for waterbending in the way that it taps.
That's what I thought, because I reckon the last card had the airbending.
Airbending, yeah.
It was obviously air. This one, I thought that would be water based on what the card did, but I wasn't sure.
Yep. That is indeed the waterbending. So I think it's just a little nod to the fact that this plays in the waterbending archetype. And honestly, I didn't even know that it was there.
I think it's
5.
5 sounds good.
It's playable. We're not cutting it. We like bears that do the thing. And you're probably going to have some waterbending stuff in just about any deck that's playing it. I mean, we'll have to see. If there's waterbending in 2 colors, which I think there will be some, we'll have to find out.
Fair enough.
Curious Farm Animals, 1 mana for a 1/1 boar, elk, bird, ox. When this creature dies, you gain 3 life. You could pay to sacrifice this creature, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Having that built into the deck is excellent. I love having built-in artifact enchantment removal. It's a 1/1 for 1. It's going to benefit you for some things. It's definitely sideboardable. And then it's pretty situational whether you want to play this card.
So of the 4 animal types there, which one is the one that's giving you 3 life, and which one is killing the artifact or enchantment?
I feel like the one that gives you 3 life is the bacon.
Okay. I mean, doesn't that kind of probably shorten your life?
But it gives you energy.
Ah.
But maybe, I don't know, because it looks like a chicken pig too.
It does say in the flavor text, right? The stunning array of unique meats like chicken pork.
Yeah. But then it looks like a pig deer too. Pork deer and pork beef. They're all pork. Anyway. I think this card is a 4. It's going to make the cut rarely in some, but I want to pick them up reasonably highly for the sideboard.
Definitely for the sideboard. We'll see if for any reason there's a lot of enchantments or artifacts, or maybe this gets bumped up later, but for now it's a 4.
And we did just see a life gain card, so there's a world where like sacrificing
True.
this, gains a life, triggers your Orzhov deck, and you're blowing up their enchantment. Great, then it's going to see a lot more play.
It's our first non-ally creature too.
Nice. All right, I'll let you do this one.
Destined Confrontation. 2 white sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control. So this is, I'm trying to remember the card that this is reminding me of. It's like Slaughter the Strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got the firebending symbol, so I'm guessing that this is going to be like a Boros white weenie build. So have to take a look at it, how tall those decks are. But it makes a lot of sense that go wide, smaller creatures, they care a lot about this kind of stuff. And honestly, I think this is great. This is sort of the board clear that you can play around, where you can keep playing creatures to make them feel like they can continue to progress the board. Like if your opponent doesn't play a creature with 4 cards in hand and you're ahead, you start to get suspicious and maybe you pull back. But if they're playing a 2-drop and you're like, oh, well, they just have like lands and if they're committing to the board, it feels like you can also commit more to the board, and then this is the getcha moment. I like this card.
Agreed. Now, this looks like something important from the show.
I mean, this battle happens multiple times. This is Azula versus her brother in some sort of Agni Kai, although they don't ever officially do Agni Kais between the two of them. They just try to kill each other over and over again. There's the last battle, which this doesn't look like it's the last battle because her hair looks still done. So this looks like maybe it's like the battle on the ship, maybe. Although it does say just you and me, brother, the showdown that was always meant to be. So maybe that's the end. Although Katara's there at the end, so that doesn't feel right. But he does say that he's gonna fight her on his own. So yeah, this is just the final Agni Kai, I guess.
What's an Agni Kai?
It's a duel to the not to the death necessarily, but usually sometimes firebender style. So typically 2 benders go at it. That's how Zuko has his facial scar. He fought an Agni Kai with his father, who burnt his face.
Lovely.
Yeah,
very
he's
normal
dad of the year.
State.
Yeah. So that's just, and she's all lightningy and he's all fiery. So it's fair.
All right, cool.
Are you playing this card?
Most of the time, yes. I think certainly in Boros, which we haven't seen red, but Boros, I'm assuming, is Boros. It's always low to the ground. A lot of times Selesnya, same way. You get a lot of tokens, but sometimes that's a go tall deck.
Yeah, my assumption would be like Boros and Orzhov, or yeah, they tend to be the smaller, wider ones.
True. I'm really curious to see. We haven't gotten there yet. What exactly Black is doing in this set, because you've got the 4 bendings and then you've got Black.
Yeah, so I noticed the pre-release kits have the 5 colors, and one is Zuko in red, and the other one was Azula in black, I think.
Okay.
And the fire bending is a little different. Like she does the lightning, right, and he does the fire. Mm-hmm. So swamp benders. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that swamp benders is an option.
I think you play this card because you can set it, unless you're like super tall where like almost nothing in your deck is going to survive this. You can find a way to set this up.
Yeah, the thing that the idea that you have to set this up makes it, I think, a little bit weaker because it's going to be a dead card when Boros is ahead. It's kind of a board wipe. You're almost like resetting the board. And that's still very playable, but I think it's only going to be playable in like half the decks. Or maybe it's like the kind of thing you sideboard if your opponents are super tall.
It definitely a good sideboard card.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be super playable. It just depends on whether or not it actually makes the cut. It seems like a little bit questionable because some decks are just not going to be interested, and against some opponents, it's going to be absolutely wretched.
True.
So very, very situational, but it feels like a 6. It's just a weird 6 I don't play all the time.
That makes sense. I mean, there's going to be cards that just have a wider variance but don't really fit as a split, and that's what this is.
Yeah, it feels like when you play it, it's going to be a 6. But like there's just so many decks and so many opponents where it's just not going to do well. So even if you are Boros, I might just want to board it out sometimes if my opponents are also doing something somewhat low to the ground.
It's funny that this could basically turn into like Armageddon against somebody with a bunch of Earthbent stuff.
A bunch of
they get their Earthbending, but they get their lands back.
Yeah,
right,
they get their lands back.
Never mind. I forgot that's how that works. That's too bad. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I think airbending is really strong. All right. Next up, the Earth Kingdom Jailer. 3 mana for a 3/3 ally. When this creature enters, exile up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls with 3 mana or greater until this leaves the battlefield. So that notably hits the O-ring. And yes. Greater means probably the stronger stuff. It's the weaker stuff it doesn't hit, and I think that's fine.
Agreed. Yeah, it's going to be rare that that restriction is really something that upsets you.
Yeah. And it's like an on-value good creature type as is. And
sure, yeah, it's an ally.
And it O-rings whatever, right? It hits another creature, hits an artifact or creature.
It's interesting that it's not just non-land permanent, so it just can't hit planeswalkers.
Huh. Yeah.
It just seems very specific exclusion.
Battles?
True, battles.
Gotcha.
Yes, that is true. I forgot that those existed. Literally once.
Oh, man. I don't know that I've seen it. Are there planeswalkers in this set? I haven't seen any in the spoilers, but I mean, I have not looked at any.
I don't think there are, actually, from what I remember reading about the set. So
wow, a limited format with no planeswalkers? Let's go. That's going to be exciting.
We had that with Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah. You're right. I didn't even notice. We didn't do a set review for that.
It's a UB thing because Lord of the Rings didn't have any.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Anyway, this is a good card. This is great. We're never cutting this. This is a 7.
Nope. This is agreed. 7. Yeah.
I love the tempo on a good-sized body. Earth Kingdom Protectors. 1 mana for a 1/1 with vigilance. It's an ally. Sacrifice this creature. Another target ally you control gains indestructible till end of turn. I reject this card. It should be a dog, and I will take no other options. Please send this back to the...
It should not only protect allies.
Send it back to print and make it a dog. How dare you take this away from the goodest of boys? I mean, these cards are always fine in limited. I think it only gives another ally, so some decks are not going to be interested. But I think, as you've seen in white, every fucking creature is an ally, so you're just half your deck is going to be allies, so you might as well just run it if you have anything worth protecting. Probably just a 5, though. I think it's very cuttable.
I always find these cards a little funny because the bigger, bombier things you have, the better the ability is, but also, like, you'd much rather have a 1/1 for 1 in, like, Boros aggro with a bunch of small things.
And it has vigilance, too, so, like, maybe that's the gap that's bridged there, is that it's actually playable in more decks than it would seem, because, like you said, the taller decks you want to protect, and then the shorter decks you want 1/1 with vigilance for 1, and that's just good enough. So maybe this is more overall playable than I'm giving it credit.
It's like overall more playable, but less of a ceiling in either deck.
Yeah, exactly. So I still think it's about a 5. Something Agreed. You can cut if you don't have, if you have an excess of playables, but certainly not something that's going to be bad in any deck, just because the sheer number of allies, you're going to have a target.
Sure.
All right. Next up, we have another lesson. Enter the avatar state, a 1 mana uncommon. I feel like the avatar state should definitely be like a rare. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes an avatar in addition to its other types and gains flying, first strike, lifelink, and hexproof. Okay. So here's the flavor fail.
Okay.
If the creature dies anyway, it has to be exiled. Because you have to break the avatar cycle.
Okay.
When you die in the avatar state, you break the cycle and the avatar ceases to exist. So the creature has to be exiled.
That's fair. That would be fair.
So if you go to like cast this in combat and give it first strike, and they're like, cool, Titan strength it or whatever, Titanic growth it, and still kill you, then your creatures are exiled.
The game just ends, shuts down.
and you're not allowed to have any more avatars for the rest of the game.
Yes.
That's a rule. I think this card's solid. I like all of those keywords for 1 mana. Can't go wrong there.
Most importantly, hexproof.
It can fade removal. It can kill them with flying. It can combat trick them with lifelink. It does everything you want it to do. So I don't see myself cutting the first one of these. Probably a 6.
Agreed. 6 sounds right. Why are we reminder texting hexproof nowadays?
Well, you see, this had less words on it than the average Magic card these days, so they were like, let's add some text here.
Yeah.
Can't let people think we've only have 2 sentences on a card.
I mean, to be fair, actually, if you go back a card, they reminder text indestructible too on the previous one.
I mean, I think this is similar to Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy, where they're expecting a lot of new players to come in for these UB sets, and that has been the case. I have talked to so many people who've come in from either Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy, and I think this is going to be similar. So it makes sense to try to put those things on when you can, just because it feels like a little bit more of like a lower power set. This feels more good for introductory than some of the other sets we've seen recently. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does that sound right?
Probably, although every card still has up 3 paragraphs of text on it.
Yeah, but the text is a little bit more straightforward. The archetypes seem more straightforward.
It probably is more straightforward than the other ones. I just wish if they were going to do that, they actually did it and actually simplified.
And I feel like also there is less words overall on a lot of the cards. Just in general, like flipping back through, like, you know, how long has it been since you've seen words on a card that were this big? Like, I feel like they've shrunk the text so many times. Like, look at this.
They do that a lot.
Like, these all have, like, very reasonable text boxes. There's, like, 3 lines of flavor text and a reminder text of scry. Like, there's so few words on this in comparison to any set in the last, 5 years.
And yet still a lot more than in, like, any time before that.
Yeah. Well, here we are. And I don't think that they can make it any less words, because then the power is too bad or too strong because they've jacked up the power toughness stuff, that it just would be too difficult to balance and make those cards relevant.
Probably.
Anyway, fancy footwork. Flameo Hotman, 3 mana for a instant lesson. Untap 1 or 2 target creatures. They each get +2/+2 until end of turn. That's pretty big for 3 mana.
I feel like that's an effect we've seen before, but usually in green.
Yeah, it's usually like 1 mana untap or 2 mana untap and give it +1/+3 in reach or something.
I feel like I've seen it. I'm probably wrong, but I feel like I've seen exactly the +2/+2 for 2 things for 2 and a.
That feels
but
right.
It may not have untapped them, to be fair.
There's definitely been combat tricks in white that have done that in the aggressive side, not untap, that I remember.
Yeah, maybe the untap is what I'm missing.
But either way, I think this is a little high priced for a combat trick, but the fact that it untaps it means that you can do it on blocks. It's super tricky, super flexible. It effectively gives your creatures vigilance. You can get your attacks and your blocks. And I feel like for like a Boros aggro, this is exactly what I want to be doing, and it's going to sort of give yourself the ability to 2-for-1 your opponents and clear up that board, so that way then you have the ability to finish out the game in the next 2 turns because you've effectively ruined their stabilizing. So I like this card enough. Some decks are not going to care about it, but I think it does enough for me to be happy.
I found the card I was thinking of. Synchronized Strike from Amonkhet. 2 and a green instant. Untap up to 2 creatures. They each get +2/+2 till end. I knew I'd seen that card. That has no bearing on whether or not it's good, because I think you're right. I think that could definitely get a 2-for-1 out of it, which is good for a 3-mana combat trick.
Yeah. Alan makes the good point that it gives you a little extra fodder for waterbending if you need those creatures open and available. But I'm more interested in just killing my opponent's stuff with +4/+4 over 2 bodies.
Yep.
Rating wise, what are we thinking?
Still have these, you know me with combat tricks. I'm still at like a 5. I don't like 3-mana combat tricks, even though this is a pretty good one.
I am also at a 5. I think this is the kind of trick you don't have a lot of room for. And though it is impactful, a lot of times you're cutting solid creatures over it, and I'd rather have the creature because it's the guarantee. But I do think this makes the cut enough of the time. I'm going to try to fit it in when I can, so I'm going to give it a 5.
Sounds good.
All right, Gather the White Lotus. 5 mana for a sorcery. Create an ally white creature token. For each planes you control, scry 2.
What game is he playing? Is that Chinese checkers?
It's Pai Sho.
I don't know what that is. I guess it's probably based on one of those.
It's Pai Sho.
Okay.
And they have the Lotus token in the center, and that's how they teach each other, or not teach each other, that's how they announce to each other that they are of the same secret society club. Sort of ancient masters of all of the forms of bending and martial arts that form a secret old dudes club that sort of keep the world in check.
No, it's like the stonemasons, like the Masons.
Yep.
Got it. They run the world behind the scenes.
Yep. That's what it is. How many on 5 mana, 2 colors? You're probably getting 3 4 1/1s out of this. Best case scenario, on average, probably like 3.
3, yeah.
For 5 mana, this feels super situational whether or not your deck wants this. So I think the average deck is going to be pretty mopey on this. Although, I don't know. Every time you make 3 bodies, it always overplays what I expect it to.
Agreed. Also, you're getting 3 on turn 5, but this is could be a fine play on turn 10 where you may be getting 6.
Yeah.
The Scry 2 is relevant. The ally potentially getting 5 or 6 triggers for ally ETBs is kind of crazy.
And in sets like this, where it's a little bit more simplified and there are cards like this, you'd be surprised how many times you see mono white decks just kind of pop up.
True. It's probably more likely, although there is a decent amount of multicolor stuff in the set.
Yeah. But with so much ally synergy, I could see a world where, if white is underdrafted at your table, this could just be 2 of these and a mono white deck, and your deck's just pops off, especially with the ally common that gets a +1/+1 every time an ally ETBs.
Yep.
So you're just piling on a bunch of those, which there's going to be a time where nobody wants those cards for sure.
That's true.
Rating wise, I think this is fine. It's going to be any white deck is going to be playable. It's going to be like a 5, and then it will play up if you care about allies and or lean towards white.
I was going to say, if you're very heavy white, if you're Azorius, but you're an 11 planes deck or something.
Yeah, white splash.
Also, we should see when we get there, what's the non-basic lands situation like? Because even if they're producing white, if they're not planes, that can make these cards worse too. If you're playing.
Yeah, and I doubt they'll be planes. Any duels
Probably
or anything
not.
like that is not going to be a planes at all, I'm sure. So, what's your rating?
I think it's a 5.5.
Y'all are missing a riveting 5-3
I think.
sports ball game.
I'm ignoring the sports ball target player for right now because Yanks is kicking my butt. Next card is a Glider Kids, 3 mana for a 2/3 flyer. When this creature enters, scry 1. See, like, this is like, it feels back to basics. Like, I feel like
This is a simple card.
but all of the cards just in average, like, most of this card you don't have to read. If you scroll back, like, yeah, this is wild. This has to be like the lowest number of words on a set in the last 5 years.
I mean, your one mana combat trick gives 4 abilities. That is not a simple card.
But it's still only 3 lines. Like, usually the lowest like text on a card is 3 lines in the whole set, whereas that's like kind of the most.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like this card.
The card's fine.
5.
If you want allies, this is serviceable. 5 seems right.
I like 3 mana, 2/3 flyers. 3 mana for a Glider Staff. Artifact equipment. When it enters, airbend up to 1 target creature, yours or theirs, which is nice. And equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. These flying artifacts are always pretty good and limited. It's got a cheap equip cost and the airbend is good. I'm not cutting this. This feels like a 7.
No, this is a good card, and you're right. The equipment that give things flying. Like, I'm usually down on equipment, but the ones that give flying always overperform.
Yeah. It's got a good equip cost, and I think the airbending is also very solid.
I mean, I feel like if this was maybe not for 3 mana, if this was like a 2 mana card that didn't even give +1/+1, it's still probably good.
Yeah. Rating, what do you think?
I like it at 7 too.
All right. Hakoda, Selfless Commander. We have a 4 mana 3/5 with Vigilance. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast ally spells from the top of your library. You can also sacrifice Hakoda, and creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain indestructible till end of turn.
Now that has to be a flavor ability, right? I mean, it's still good, but I imagine that's why. Does he sacrifice himself or something in the story, or?
No, he's the kids.
Okay.
He's the kids'
I'm
dad,
wrong.
and so he does, and he is sort of a protector. He's like the leader of the Southern Water Tribe fighters, and he does get injured in one of the episodes, but no, he doesn't sacrifice himself. I think he's the big protector and father figure for the main characters, so that checks out to me.
Fair enough. The I don't know if it was like the +0/+5 seemed very specific, that maybe it was some sort of thing.
I mean, he has 5 toughness, so that's sort of fitting.
Sure.
The one thing I will say is that he is the person who runs around the entire 4 nations, gathering all of the allies for the big battle. So it makes sense that he can look at the top and play allies from the top of the library, because he's the one that goes around and picks up all the kids.
Yep, that makes sense.
So that's pretty flavorful. I think that's really cool. Yeah, they do an invasion with a ragtag team of everybody they've met through the like Earth and Water Kingdom, and the dad is the one that picks him up and brings him to meet on the island.
Ah, okay. I mean, we're seeing a ton of allies.
Oh yeah,
Again,
every single card is an ally. So
that's probably not, like you said, that's probably not true after we leave
white. I'm guessing it's going to be in blue, would be my guess, or green. Maybe.
That would make sense.
But we'll find out. Either way, there's enough allies in white for me not to care and to tell you that this is a good card and you should be playing it, because there's going to be plenty of allies. Plus, it's just a good creature, good stats on its own. This feels like an 8.
Yeah, I think the most underrated part of this card, I think this is true with a lot of people in cards, is, yeah, you can cast ally spells from top. That's great. Just knowing the top card of your library is very valuable.
Yeah, if you get 1 or 2 cards, it feels good. And the fact that it's a 3/5 with Vigilance for 4, like, you're well above stats as is. There's nothing I don't like about this card, and I can't see myself taking a common or uncommon over this rare.
Agreed.
So
8 makes sense to me.
it'll win the long game if left alone. Next up, we have Invasion Reinforcements, 2 mana for a 1/1 ally with Flash. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. This is just a reprint? Is that creature make it? Is it and does it make allies? I don't know.
That's the part I wasn't sure of. I know
It's
that we've
definitely
definitely
called
had
like
this effect.
it's definitely called Reinforcements something something. The prior one makes a soldier, says target player.
Soldiers, yeah.
But still pretty close to a reprint in the grand scheme of things, but obviously pretty good with allies and cards that make
resolute reinforcements.
That's it. Really good for like the card that gets +1/+1 for every ally that ETBs.
You were just playing Foundations. Come on.
I was.
Sorry, yeah. It's the 2 triggers for ETBs is great. This is a decent thing to airbend.
2 bodies, everything is good here. We call this a 5.5.
Sounds right. Just like most of these cards, they'll tick up if you have good ally payoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's very strong in its mana bracket, but then like only 2 mana creatures can only be so strong. So it definitely makes the cut.
Yep.
All right, Zhong's Deserters. 2 mana for a 1/2 rebel ally. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on another creature. I love this set so far. It feels so back to the basics.
Yeah, there aren't enough terrible cards for it to be back to the basic.
That's true. I'm really glad this is going to be super like new player friendly, and I think that's what we needed. And I hope the set plays as well as I hope it does. And based on how they did Lord of the Rings and Avatar, Final Fantasy. I think this is going to be very, very good. I'm super stoked. Although I might just be biased because I love Avatar. So here we are. Yeah, this card is excellent, right? It's a 2 mana 2/3 on its own. And you can move that counter around however it suits you, and that feels good, which makes this a premium airbending target.
Exactly. As long as you're not, targeting on itself.
So
Agreed.
Even if you target it on itself, it's still pretty like statted plus.
Oh, I just mean for the airbending purpose. Then you've wasted the counter.
Rating wise, I'm very, very happy with this card. I don't see myself cutting it a lot, but it's just going to be a 5 for me.
I think so. If we called the last one a 5.5, I think this is a little worse.
Kyoshi Warriors. 4 mana for a 3/3. When this creature enters, create an ally creature token. We've seen this card before. Strixhaven? Made something similar.
Yeah, I think we've seen this 3/3 plus a 1/1 a few times.
Yeah, for exactly 4 mana. And honestly, It was playable in all of those situations. So I'm here for this card.
Same thing. Two pieces of 2 things to the board that are both relevant creature types.
I'm going to call this also a 5.
5. Agreed.
All right. The Legend of Yang Chen, 5 mana for a saga. Starting with you, each player chooses up to 1 permanent with mana value 3 or greater from among permanents your opponents control. Exile those permanents. So very Commander-esque. So if it's just 1v1 in limited, you're getting to choose a permanent, and then your opponent will choose the same permanent.
Yes, right. It's basically Council's Judgment.
Yeah, so you get to kill a thing in 1v1. You may have target opponent draw 3 cards. If you do, also draw 3 cards. Exile this saga and return it to the battlefield transformed. I don't have the saga.
The backside is... You want me to read it?
Sure.
Avatar Yang Chen. It's a 4/5 legendary creature avatar. Flying. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, airbend up to 1 other target non-land permanent.
4/5, and then
4/5 flyer, second spell each turn, airbend something.
And it flies?
Yes.
Okay, and then second spell, airbend. That seems excellent.
Yep.
Saga, chapter 1 and the backside of this make it worth it to me?
I think so. Chapter 1 also, just that hasn't played with cards like Council's Judgment, doesn't target. So it gets around protection, hexproof, that sort of stuff.
Oh, sneakity sneak. I would have not read it that way. But you're right, it does. I just, in my head, when I read it, I just think target.
I've played enough Vintage Cube where you Council's Judgment, True Name Nemesis, because it's one of the ways to get rid of it. Because protection from your opponent does not matter if you're just choosing as opposed to targeting.
The backside is an enchantment creature?
Legendary creature, avatar.
Not enchantment.
Not an enchantment.
Interesting. Most of the times when sagas flip, they still are enchantments.
I guess in this case, that's because you're going from like the saga is the story, and then it's turning into the actual person.
Yeah, I think that sounds correct.
Does this fit? Does that sort of? I mean, as hard it might be a hard question to answer, but does that fit what you know of Yang Chen? Like, does this card make sense?
I mean, she's an airbender.
Okay.
So she airbends stuff. The exile a creature seems fine. She never flies that I am aware of in the novels and in the stories.
Okay.
She doesn't fly. In fact, she kind of the opposite of flies. Her sky bison dies.
Okay.
So she shouldn't fly. I guess she flies for a little bit. She flies for a novel and a half.
Fair enough.
It's a little dark. I wonder if all my flip cards are going to be missing. I was trying to see.
That's the only white one.
Okay. Well, this might happen again, but yeah, I don't seem to have it in my files. Did Yang Chen get a spin-off book or something? All I remember is that Aang spoke to her once when soul searching near the end of the series. Yeah, on a lion turtle, he speaks to several different avatars. First he speaks to Kyoshi, Kurok, and then Yang Chen. And I think Roku's first as well. I think he goes backwards in the order, and then he wants one of them to tell him not to kill because he's an air nomad and he doesn't want to kill anyone. And every single avatar says, yeah, you got to shut him down. Just fucking off this guy. And he doesn't want to do that. So he keeps going and talking to different avatars until he gets to Yang Chen. And he says, finally, another airbender, you should be on my side here. You should also agree that I shouldn't kill this person. And Yang Chen tells him, I am an air nomad and I do believe in that. But the thing you have to realize is that being the avatar means you have to put the good of the world before the good of your own spiritual harmony. And you have to fucking kill this guy. And so Aang is like, damn it, I still didn't get the answer I wanted.
So that's interesting, right? Because I was wondering throughout this whole stuff when thinking about airbending, if there was kind of a thing in the series about not killing things, right? Because it's all like, it's a temporary exile.
Yes.
Effect,
and they are pacifists, kind of.
Except in this case, right, chapter 1 is a permanent exile.
Yeah. And yes, to answer your question, Yang Chen does have 2 novels. And it starts, there's a Kyoshi double novel, there's a Yang Chen double novel, and then there's a Roku single novel that the second one is coming out actually in December. And the Yang Chen one starts when she's already a fully realized avatar, but she's still quite young. So like maybe in her like early 20s-ish. And it goes through like a series of adventures and how she sort of establishes herself as a major avatar. But anyway, yeah, so storyline wise, she shouldn't fly, I guess. She did lose her Sky Bison. Rating wise, it feels strong. 5 mana, exile your thing, flip into a big scary creature, draw some cards if you want to, at parity, which is neither here nor there. And then the airbend every double spell seems quite strong, so I feel like that is a game-winning mechanic if left alone, in addition to having already gotten a card's worth of value. I would call that an 8.
It's a built-in 2-for-1. You're getting your card right away, and then they either have to spend a card to kill this, or you've got a 4/5 flyer, which is something they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So I agree, 8.
The name of the books, by the way, I just remembered. So it's the Dawn of Yang Chen and I forget the other one. But anyway. Next up, we have Master Piandao, 5 mana for a 4/4 with first strike. He's an ally. When he attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an ally card, equipment, or lesson card from among them and put that into your hand. So any white card off the top, and you get to put that in your hand. Put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. This feels excellent.
Agreed. 4/4 first strike is really hard to deal with in combat.
Yeah. And the ability to hit one of those things in the top 4 is not going to be super rare.
No.
So I like it. How much do I like it? I like it at like a 6.
Yeah, almost. If you're willing to assume that you're hitting almost every time, then I'm almost a little higher on that, like 6.5.
I'm not assuming I hit 4. 4 is not quite deep enough for me to assume I'm hitting every time.
Okay.
But like 2 out of 3, because I'm assuming it hits most white things in your deck.
True. Yeah, you did say that. That's true. That's still only probably half your deck.
So, and some amount of the times it's going to be like red card, land, red spell or something. Or white instant and sorcery, which is not going to hit. So it's going to hit any of the like white permanents.
Well, it might hit the lessons.
Yeah.
Which could be some of your instants or sorceries.
So if your deck is equal parts white, I'm very happy with this card at like a 6. And then there are some decks that are just, pedal to the metal, all allies and lessons. This is going to be absolutely nuts. It's going to be like an 8. You're going to get so much value out of it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe an 8's a little high, but like...
No, but it goes up for sure.
Yes, it definitely goes up. But I think in any deck, this is going to be super playable at a 6.
Agreed. Oh, I like that.
Everything's an ally, including this Momo-friendly flyer. A Lemur Bat ally, a 1/1 for 1 with flying. And the first non-Lemur creature spell with flying you cast during each of your turns costs 1 less. Whenever another creature you control flying enters, Momo gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Doesn't feel strong enough for a rare.
No.
1/1 flyers for 1 are fine. I play them a lot. I usually like it if they have lifelink. But the fact that you get a little discount here on some flyers, that we saw a bunch of Angs and Appas that fly, so you're going to get that discount. It's going to be super playable in any white deck. It's just not a Haymaker rare.
Agreed.
So, 5?
5, again, just another card that's going to go up if you've got some ally stuff you care about.
Yeah. Allies, if you get to put those +1/+1 counters on your flyer and then airbend your other idiot, like that's cool. I feel like this doesn't get cut a ton, but it's not something I actively care about picking up either.
Agreed. Yeah, not an early pick, but you're perfectly happy to take it and stick it in your deck.
Momo, Playful Pet, a 1-mana 1/1 with flying and vigilance. When Momo leaves the battlefield, choose 1. Create a food, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, or scry 2. I mean, honestly, I think this one's better by a lot.
I agree.
And it's the uncommon, so I don't think I ever cut this card, so 6.
6 seems right. You're going to almost... I mean, you will always have value for one of those abilities because you always have a value for scry 2.
Yep.
So...
And, you know, there's a lot of life gaining stuff. Maybe there'll be something to play into that. And the +1/+1 counter is really nice, too.
Agreed. 6 seems good.
Path to Redemption. 2 mana for an enchant aura. Enchant creature can't attack or block, and you can pay 5. Sacrifice the aura. Exile enchant creature. Create a 1/1 ally creature token. Activate only during your turn. So... you can brick their creature, and then you can exile it and turn it into a 1/1 for yourself. That seems excellent. This looks like an 8 to me.
Agreed. One of the weaknesses you were going to see with a pacifism effect in this set was all the airbending. That people could just get it out from under it pretty easily. So having that option to at least eventually exile.
Yeah, there was nice. Another set where they had, like, I think it was like pay 3 or 5. Those are two very different numbers.
It was Theros Beyond Death. It was a 3 mana enchantment, but it cost 5 to exile.
And if I
It
remember
was like
correctly,
something shackles.
yeah, if I remember correctly, there was like quite a few ways to get out of it then. So like you kind of wanted to get rid of it when you could.
If I'm remembering right, that was one of the cards your mom liked to take in the draft.
No, that was one she didn't like to take because they were all dead.
Oh, that's right.
bodies.
She didn't. They were dead. That's right. I remember.
But rating wise, I still think this card is very, very good.
Agreed.
It doesn't undo their abilities, so maybe it's just a 7.
Nope. I guess it would be worse than the like banishing ring. Banishing ring. I combine the cards. Banishing light effects.
Yeah.
So 7 seems good.
7 plus it's weak to, like you said, to airbending.
Yep.
The Rabaroo Troop. 5 mana for a rabbit kangaroo. It's a 3/5 with landfall. When a land enters, this creature gains flying until end of turn, and you gain a life. And you can also plane cycle it.
Why does this thing get to fly?
It jumps really, really high. That's why it's only flying for 1 turn.
That's funny.
I do love that he's eating cabbages.
Yes.
Rabaroos
They are famous. Yep, exactly.
famous enjoyers of hopping and infamous enjoyers of cabbage. He's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, this card is good. It definitely gets worse if you only put 1 planes in your deck.
I hate you. A lot. Yanks built a sealed pool for me once. Put plane cyclers in there with 1 planes, and I needed a 4th mana, and I plane cycled it, having a planes in the battlefield, and didn't have a planes.
It was a very light splash.
I'm never letting you build my sealed pool ever again. Rating wise, I think this is fine. It's very cuttable. 5.
Let me go a little higher. Just by joking aside, I really like the land cyclers. They just give you so much more consistency. Now, granted, it's not like the Lord of the Rings ones where it's only 1 mana. That does make a big difference. But
no, I think you're right. I was literally thinking about the flying ability and on a 3/5 body and thinking I didn't care. So realistically, it is much, much higher. Double white's a little hard to cast, but that doesn't really matter if you're plane cycling and fixing and all those fun things. I think you're right. I think it's just any cycling creature is probably closer to a 6.
Yeah, you can. If you have enough of these, you can potentially not ratchet down your land count and play extra spells. Like it's good that way too.
Yeah, 6.
6.
All right, Razor Rings, 2 mana. Deals 4 damage at instant speed to an attacking or blocking creature. You gain life equal to the excess damage dealt this way. A lot of life gain stuff here, so I'll be sad if there's no payoff for it. But I think
that would be disappointed.
What's up?
That would be disappointing if there's not, because you've got a lot of enablers.
Pretty fine statted removal card. I'm happy with it. Also, it is the Swamp Bender, notably, which is fun.
So wait, there were swamp benders, and we don't have black bending.
Well, swamp bending is just a form of water bending.
Okay.
They bend the swamp water, and they bend the water in the plants.
Okay.
To make the plants move and look like monsters.
Is that kind of like how metal bending is just a form of earth bending?
Yep. Okay. It's a little different because I think anyone can learn to be a swamp plant bender, more or less. Whereas metal bending, only some people can become metal benders.
Okay.
It's like mega powerful benders basically have the ability to learn to do the thing. Whereas like this is just a super sneaky, tricky way to water bend that most people don't quite think to do. And sure. It's also probably a lot harder unless you're like a little bit more skilled.
Makes sense.
Rating wise, this feels good. 7?
Yep, 7.
We're not cutting that card.
Nope.
Sandbender's Storm. So this is just a type of earth bending, similar to the swamp bending. 4 mana for an instant. Choose 1. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, or earthbend 3. Yeah, this is very flexible. I like it. It's interesting that the destroy target creature with 4 or greater is back up to 4 mana.
True. Well, maybe that's just because it's the split.
Yeah, but
It's
4
basically like
mana
a
to make a
3/3.
3/3 land is not that great either.
No, it's a 3/3 haste. But yeah, it's one of your classic 2 abilities, neither one of which is that great for the mana cost, but because they're both there, the card's never dead.
I feel like I've gotten spoiled lately, though. I feel like they have been the split cards have been so much closer to
They
like
have been.
both sides just being good. Whereas
Agreed.
both of these feel underwhelming at this point. So
That's fair.
it's still good. I'm going to still call this like a 6.
6 seems good to me.
Maybe I don't play it that much, but it's probably fine. South Pole Voyager. 2 mana for a 2/2 ally. Whenever this creature or another ally you control enters, you gain a life. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card.
Great.
I like that he counts himself as the second spell, which is interesting. You usually don't get that.
Sure. So yeah, you can.
Huh.
Well, one of the 2. He can't be the second.
It says whenever this creature or another creature.
But it has to be the second time this ability, so it had to be on the battlefield for the first time.
Oh. No, yeah, you're right. Shut up. I was just thinking that usually the card has to be in play because it'll say when you cast a creature.
Oh, yeah.
Second creature. So then I was like, oh, it gets around that, but it doesn't because it didn't see the first one. Just ignore me. I'm tired. I like this card a lot. I'm never cutting this. This seems like one of those really good snowbally cards that they don't win the game. They're not powerful enough, but they get you the resources, the card advantage, the board state advantage. They get you everything you need to win those games. So 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, it turns invasion reinforcements, Kyoshi Warriors into all the things they do, plus draw a card, plus gain 2 life, draw a card. And then they can be airbent and do it again. Like, it's, especially, Kyoshi Warriors is a 4-drop, right? But if you can airbend it away and play it for 2, now you have a 2 mana 3/3, plus a 1/1, gain 2 life, draw a card. Like,
I mean, I'm not going to call that a 2 mana 3/3 because you
No, it
spent
had
a
to be out
card to
there
airbend it.
Sorry. Well, you presumably your card had. I'm assuming you're not just airbending; that it had some other effect too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like airbend and cycle, or an understated creature that airbended. Plus, you paid the 4 mana for the Kyoshi the first time.
You definitely paid the 4 the first time. It's not exactly, but for 2 mana, you are getting that effect.
Yeah.
That time repeatedly at that point, if you can airbend. So yeah, I really like this card a lot.
Yeah. Rating wise, what are you thinking? I said 7.5.
Same.
All right. Southern Air Temple. It's a shrine for 4 mana. Ooh, new shrines for you, Commander players.
Yep.
Whenever Southern Air Temple enters, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of shrines you control. So, just for the sake of argument, this is just going to be when this enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Because there's probably like a cycle of shrines, but you're probably not playing both. You probably don't see them both at uncommon. The average deck is not going to get more than one. So whenever another shrine you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it does trigger multiple times. You don't have to wait to play one to play the other to get the maximum value, because they'll continue to trigger if you do get lucky enough to play more than one. But let's just say, for the sake of the average limited sealed pool, you're only having this one.
That's fair.
I think it's still good enough.
As long as you're going wide enough, right? How many counters do you need to get to make 4 mana for it to be worth 4 mana?
Consistently 3. Like 3 needs to be
4 mana,
kind of
4
like
mana. Put a +1/+1 counter on 3 creatures you control.
If I can reliably get 3 with an upside of more, then I think that's where I'm looking to be at.
Okay. And I mean, there seems to be a decent amount of white ally token making, so you're probably going somewhat wide if you're white.
And like the 2/1/1 Momo flyers, like there's just like a lot of little shitters. So I'm pretty happy. I think this is going to make the cut in white decks with how many tokens we're seeing.
This is also something you could airbend.
Ooh. Didn't think about that. Yeah, some airbending does say permanent, huh?
Yeah, a decent amount of it is. Some of them are just creatures, but a lot of them are non-land permanent.
That's super cute. I think this card's very playable. I'm going to call it a 6 with some upside.
I think that sounds right. Because there are going to be some times where you do get 2 shrines.
Suki, Courageous Rescuer. 3 mana for a 2/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, create an ally creature. This triggers only once. So that's a really nice payoff for airbending your own stuff. And
Yep.
for preventing your opponents from wanting to tempo airbend you.
True.
So this is a very, very nice card.
Yep, although it is only during your turn.
Some of the combat tricks are airbend, but yeah.
They are true. True. It does still have some effect on that.
That doesn't do as much as I thought, for sure. I like this card. I'm going to say this is certainly never being cut for me. That's a 6.5 in the average deck. Maybe it's just a 7.
I think it's probably a 7. I think there's enough airbending floating around, plus like it works with earthbending, right? Like if that creature dies and comes back, like the land. I mean, anything dies, it triggers it, but
yeah, you could just creatures. If you have no airbending, it's still a medium lord, and if creatures die, it makes a replacement. It's just a 7. In my head, it said whenever a creature is airbended, make a 1/1. So it was like a lot lower, but you're right. It's just anything that leaves. If you have an evolving wilds, it triggers.
Yeah, for sure. Any other sort of bounce or blink, if any blink effects. I mean, that's mostly what airbending is kind of replacing in this set, but there might be some.
All right, Team Avatar, 3 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X. It will end a turn where X is the number of creatures you control. And for 3 mana, you can discard this card. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature. So it's an Anthem effect that doubles as removal.
Yep.
And I would say in white, I'm always going to have enough creatures to think that this is worth playing. So,
This is an interesting one because a lot of times you hope like your discard, that sort of effect is useful when the card itself isn't. But if you have enough creatures that this is particularly good as a removal spell, you also kind of want it on the battlefield.
Yeah, I picture there's a world where, your opponent is too tall. Like, I could see the fact that it's a removal spell mitigates that for me because both sides are super strong anyway.
Agreed.
So I'm pretty happy with this card I'm never cutting this, I don't think. Everything that white's doing, I don't see a color pairing where I'm unhappy for this. So
probably not. Yeah, probably not.
7? I'm pretty high on this.
I think I'm a little bit lower just because there are times when it's an atrocious top deck. Like if you're just on an empty, even if you're both sides on an empty board, and this does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think you're right. White is generally going to have enough to make this good. So I'm not much behind you. I'm at like 6.5.
United Front. X white, create X white ally creature tokens, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
This card is stupidly.
What?
So it's functional. I mean, it's effectively not X11s. It's effectively X22s plus counters on everything else.
This card's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, even at 5 mana, you're getting 3 2/2s plus a couple more counters, and it just gets better the more mana you have to pump into it.
Yeah, this feels game ending. And their allies specifically, which is going to give you a slew of other benefits and triggers. Ay, ay, ay. And the weird thing is like normally we see impactful cards where we're like, oh, they remove it and it doesn't do anything. It didn't give you card draw. It didn't give you anything else. But the only thing that deals with this is a board clear. And I don't think we're not going to play around that, right?
No, we're not. I mean, I guess it's not. It's a board clear, even including like the sort of fake airbending one.
Yeah.
Because they're all tokens, so they go away.
Still rare.
But,
I mean, I call this a 9.
yeah, agreed. I think it is. I'm almost tempted to go higher, but it is mana inefficient to some degree, so 9.
Yeah.
At least at the lower costs.
Vengeful Villagers. 4 mana for a 3/3. Whenever this creature attacks, choose target creature an opponent controls. Tap it. Then you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, put a stun counter on the creature.
Okay, I mean 4 mana 3/3 that taps something when it attacks is all right. Not exciting.
Boros-esque. I feel like not every deck is going to want this. It's understated.
Agreed.
I'm
we do
wondering
have tokens.
What artifacts do we have to put stun counters? I've seen like some food tokens. I've seen like the Momo when it died.
Yeah, we haven't really seen anything else other than that. I mean, you are making a bunch of tokens, so you do have creature tokens to sacrifice.
Yeah, I definitely read that just as artifact token, or artifact. I think this is good in some decks, but not all.
Agreed. It is also, I believe, only the 3rd creature we've seen that's not an ally.
Wow. Yeah.
The Rabaroo and the 4 farm animal one.
This feels a little split rating. It's one of the first cards that I've seen that are very archetype specific. Like Boros likes these kinds of abilities, but I would say like Azorius doesn't typically, because most of their stuff is evasive. You don't tend to have a lot of creatures. So, it's like a 4 or a 6 to me. Like, it's going to be borderline playable. It's going to be like I'm unhappy to play it and I hope I have more playables, or it'll be something that I actively want to fill out my curve with. So,
that sounds about right.
A 4 or a 6, which is pretty weird for an uncommon.
Agreed.
The Water Tribe Captain, 3 mana for a 3/3 ally. Pay 5, creatures you control get +1/+1. It's interesting, we normally see this like on a 1/1 creature.
True, it is usually smaller. This card's fine. You are certainly going wide. We've seen a ton of tokens.
Also, is this not a real I don't know this character. I don't know this quote either.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea.
Ratings. I think this is a good archetype with how many allies there are, how many creatures make multiple bodies. I don't see why we don't love this card.
No, it's on rate. Probably like a 6.
6. In for a 6. The Water Tribe Rallier, 2 mana for a 2/2 with Waterbend 5. Tap or pay 5 mana. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature of power 3 or less from among them and put that into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I like cards like this that long game lets you get more and more card advantage, and it's just a simple bear to boot. I'm never cutting it. This is a... I almost said 5, but I like it a little bit better.
Agreed. I think it's better. I mean, there's only 2 white creatures it misses.
And it's an ally still. I'm never cutting the first one. The fact that it can just keep digging in the late game to get you card value, these tend to win a lot of games for me. So I'm going to call that a 6.
6 seems right.
Yip. 1 mana for a lesson. Target creature you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. If that creature is an ally, it also gains flying. So if you are an ally, you can ride on Appa. That's very cute. For 1 mana. +2/+2 for 1 mana is fine.
It's fine.
And it's going to hit all of your white creatures except for one that you probably don't want to run anyway. So great.
Yeah, and as long as you played a land, the Rabaru's already got flying. So. White card's fine. It's like a 5.
Yeah, I feel like this is very, very playable. I think this is a good combat trick. I'm going to get annoyed getting got by this card over and over again.
But then you're going to look at it and realize it's cute and you'll be okay with it.
It is very cute. I love Appa so much. And that's the end of white. Yanks, what do you think of white so far?
A lot of allies, a lot of tokens.
So many allies. It's wild. It makes me think that there's going to be very few allies in whatever the partner color is.
Agreed. There probably should be very few, but we'll see. Certainly a smaller percentage than we saw there, where it's all but 3.
For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out with us and checking out our set review. We really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to hit follow and subscribe. Those are the same things. Don't forget to follow and leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of white, and we'll see you in the next video for the blue. See you next time. Bye.